Chords of Cloud. Okay, welcome back everyone to Tanya for Life. Today, we are finally starting chapter 13 after weeks doing chapter 12. Now we're starting our next chapter. And this chapter is talking about the Benoni in the way that he's like a rasha. Like a rasha, not a rasha. Not the tzaddik, not the rasha, but similar in some ways. And we're about to read something that I really, really like. Let's just go into a bit of a summary first. In the previous chapter, the Alter Rebbe describes in chapter 12 the spiritual profile of the Benoni. In the Benoni's heart, said the Alter Rebbe, evil desires may often arise, but his divine soul constantly prevents such desires from finding expression in actual thought, speech, or action. On the contrary, these three soul garments are the exclusive domain of the divine soul, and they are utilized by the Benoni for thought, speech, and action of Torah study and the fulfillment of the mitzvot. Accordingly, we may understand the comment of our sages that Benonim are judged by both their good and evil inclinations. Both judge him and dictate his conduct. Both good and evil inclination judge the Benoni and dictate his conduct. As scriptural support for this contention, Talmud cites, as it is written, he, the Almighty, stands at the right hand of the poor man to save him from them that judge his soul. The plural, them that judge, indicates the presence of two judges within the person, the evil inclination and the good. We thus find that the Benoni's inclinations are described as his judges. Now, were the term Benoni to be understood in its simple literal sense, the one that we addressed in chapter 1, that a Benoni literally means in between, so it must be in between the rasha and the tzaddik, which means it must be half righteous and half evil. So it would be an equal of good deeds and bad deeds. So if we're doing the literal sense of this Benoni, one who has an equal history of good deeds and bad, it should more properly be said that the Benoni is ruled by both inclinations. For one to sin, his evil inclination must rule him. But for one to do good, his good inclination must rule. The Benoni, who supposedly does both, must be ruled and not merely judged by both. It's very technical, but it makes a lot of sense. However, according to the explanation of the term Benoni, given in the previous chapter, it is clear that indeed the Benoni is merely judged by both inclinations, not ruled by both, as shall be explained presently. Note that our sages did not say he is ruled by both the good inclination and the evil inclination, God forbid. Because where the evil nature gains any rule and dominion, albeit momentarily over the small city, i.e., whenever the evil rules one's body, which is likened to a city, which both the good inclination and the evil seek to conquer, one is deemed wicked at such times. Whenever the evil rules one's body, the person is immediately deemed wicked. A person cannot be a Benoni or a tzaddik if they are at any time ruled over by their evil inclination. Rather, the evil inclination in the Benoni is no more than, for example, a magistrate or a judge who expresses his opinion on a point of law. Only expresses his opinion, but doesn't lead to any verdict or action. Yet, in fact, his decision is not necessarily final, for there is another magistrate, another judge who disagrees with him. That's amazing. It then becomes necessary, in order to formulate a binding decision, to arbitrate between the two, and the final verdict will rest with the arbitrator. Wow. Wow. This is like where you can see free choice. This is what it means to have free choice. Because when there's no free choice, one is not merely a judge or a magistrate who gives a different opinion. One is ruled by this or that. No one can give opinions. It's just the way it is. Similarly, in the battle between the evil inclination and the good, the evil inclination states its opinion in the left part of the Benoni's heart, because that's where it resides. It creates an evil desire in his heart and demands that he act accordingly, according to this evil desire, thus rendering judgment as to his future conduct. Wow, this is so amazing how this simplifies our daily experiences. From the heart, the desire ascends to the mind for contemplation. This ascent is automatic. Whenever a desire is awakened in the heart, the brain will automatically contemplate it. Immediately upon its ascent to the brain, it is challenged by the second judge, the divine soul, which mostly resides in the brain, but also extends into the right part of the heart, where the good inclination abides. That's like where its other holiday palace is. Wow. Okay. Before we go on further, something really relatable that I want to share here. Okay, so when we have, wow, sometimes, okay, here's where a person can experience like the rasha, what it means to be a rasha. And rashaim are not bad people. Rashaim are very good people who really want to be doing the good thing, the right thing, caring about people, but they're not always in line with kedusha, not always in line with Hashem. They're not always God conscious and can fall because of it, right? For example, just drinking water without having a holy intention, a godly intention, will make it a mundane experience, because water is mundane. It belongs in the world of klippa. I can see it, I can touch it, I can drink it. It belongs in the world of klippa. So in order to elevate this klippa, I need to have God consciousness while I drink it, right? So I say the bracha with intention. I drink it after I bench. So I elevate the sparks within me and within the water. So now it becomes a holier thing. And now what I've done is I've called on my godly soul, my divine soul, to come to the forefront in this action that I'm doing, right? So that's and not only the action, but also the intention, right? The mind. So within that mitzvah, that's a lot that we're strengthening our godly soul. Anytime we bring it out, we're strengthening it. If one doesn't do that, which is so easy to, more often than not, just forget to do, or you're so busy, you're thinking of a billion things at the same time. It's very normal that a person forgets to have the attachment of kedusha, right? A godly attachment. So what happens is now naturally it falls to the other, it becomes an expression of the other soul, the animal soul, and just drinking the water. It's from the world of klippa. So is the animal soul from the world of klippa. So that's what comes to the forefront. You're thinking mindlessly or about something not kedusha, right? And that in itself strengthens the animal soul, right? So even if it's not a horrible thing that we're doing, if it's something that's not God conscious, then we're not activating our godly soul, which is really amazing, because first of all, we should see that and be like, oh, Russia's not a bad thing. Russia's a normal person, a normal place to be at, okay? But also remember that like we're trying to get to a high level. This is what we're doing. So one thing really, really that like reached me is now we understand this concept of rasha. So what does it mean for a rasha? Rasha is someone who's easily more and more run by their heart's desire, right? For example, can I think of, for example, overeating, indulging in food, overindulging in food, indulging in TV, music, anything really. You can indulge in anything. And chas v'shalom, things can get worse, where you're blatantly disregarding mitzvot, chas v'shalom. But like, for example, when you're sinat chinam, talking about the Beis Hamikdash that we just observed Tisha B'Av, which commemorates one of the saddest, most intense days in Jewish history, that the exact same day that both Batei Mikdash, the first and second temple, were actually destroyed on the same day. So there's a lot of spiritual power in this day. The fact that physical events happen on the same time, both destructive events happen on the same time in the world many years after, in different like same date, different times. And this idea of sinat chinam, it's a mitzvah to love each other, love your fellow as yourself. If you're not loving yourself, if you're not loving your fellow, that's desecrating a mitzvah. A mitzvah ta'aseh, a positive mitzvah, that you should love your fellow as yourself. So every time you desecrate this mitzvah, which could be very easy to, especially in the world that we're living in, post Beit HaMikdash, which was destroyed because of sinat chinam. So then it becomes much easier for us to lose a sense of what's it called? Free choice, b'chira chafshit. And I'll explain, because everyone has b'chira chafshit, everyone has free choice. But I can tell you from experience, the more and more and more that we indulge our animal soul in whatever way, it begins off in things that are mindless, and it ends up in intentional things, things that we want to stop ourselves from doing, but we can't, because it's just, there's something greater than us. It feels like a heavy weight that it's not letting us push through this and do what we know is right. I can tell you from many experiences with different things in this Gashmius world, where I've fallen into the trap of like feeling like helpless, and like it's uncontrollable the way you're acting, even though you know it's wrong. And so this is something really, really important. So when the evil inclination, like a magistrate, it talks, like it gives its opinion, it manifests in the heart, right? In the left part of the heart, because that's where the evil inclination resides, in the left part of the heart. So at that point, with any stimulus in front of me, whether it's I just woke up, what am I going to do now? And the evil, the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination comes into the left part of my heart and, states an opinion. The way that I experience his opinion is through my feeling in my heart, that it's just a desire for something. Maybe it's a desire for procrastination, maybe it's a desire for something other than learning Torah and davening, whatever it is. There's a desire that's created within the left part of the heart, an evil desire, or a mundane desire. And this desire forces me to act compulsively without even thinking, even, right? As a person develops and develops and develops and strengthens the Yetzer Hara over the Yetzer Tov, right? So what happens is this feeling shoots up to the mind, and the mind then understands this feeling, interprets it, comes up with a thought that the Yetzer Hara is prompting. And the thought is, oh, I don't feel like davening right now. As soon as I got up, I don't feel like washing my hands right after I got up. I feel like just staying in bed, or I feel like being on my phone, or I feel like something other than what I'm meant to be doing, right? So this is the contemplation of the mind that is sent from the heart, which is what we just read here. And I think the really big like key for us is this isn't who we are. It isn't everything that we are. And that's something that really was important for me to find out, is important for me to remember, especially when I was going through times where I felt that I had no control, no self-control, self-mastery in whatever aspects, interactions with other people, interactions with food, interactions with things of Hashem's world, whatever it is. It's so important to remember that there's another voice, right? And this desire that can build up in a fiery, passionate burn in my heart doesn't mean, just because it's a fiery, passionate burn, doesn't mean that I have to listen to it, and it doesn't mean it's coming from me. Doesn't mean that's what I want to do. And you can often see that after you indulge in whatever this feeling is telling you to do, you indulge in it, and then later, 10 minutes later, or even immediately later, do you feel better or do you feel worse? And something Gedalia Fenster would say often is, when you're looking to strengthen yourself spiritually, or even with your muscles in the gym, anything, you don't enjoy it and you don't want to do it first. Don't look for the feeling to tell you to do something. Don't look for motivation first, because if you're looking for that, you'll never start, right? The good feelings, the endorphins, the high, the feeling good about yourself, it all comes after. It comes after you've overcome and gone through what you're meant to be doing. When you finally dub in, like, you feel amazing after, even though 10 seconds ago or 20 minutes ago you're feeling, so unsure, so shaky, so irritated or aggressive, whatever it was. But you see, it all disappears after you go through. And that's strengthening your spiritual muscles, says Gedalia Fenster. And also the way that you deal with gym, working out, keeping your body healthy. It's not easy to begin with, and you can't look for feeling good before you do something. You have to look for the feeling after. Whereas with something that's bad for you, like the Yetzer Hara, whatever it pushes you to do, it feels good before, like it always feels good when you're doing it in the moment, but after, it has a lasting negative effect, like a lasting negative impact. And that's how you can see for yourself in your own, non-judgmental observance of yourself, what's the line, what am I doing more, am I listening to the Yetzer Hara more, listening to the Yetzer Tov more, what's good for me. It helps you come out with a decision, a more clear decision, rather than feeling like you have to do everything that Hashem tells you, otherwise you're not, whatever it is, that there are so many thoughts and so many attachments, chas v'shalom, that our minds can be confuddled by, just having mitzvot, that it's helpful for us to see for ourselves, experience for ourselves, already where in our lives is this happening, and what path do I really want to be choosing. And so that's what it's like for a rasha, right? Anyone who's not a Benoni, anyone who's not a tzaddik. Why? Because what's it like for a Benoni? A Benoni, his evil inclination and his good inclination, it's like a debate. It's like people stating their opinion, like a magistrate. Whereas the rasha, I got mixed up before I said a magistrate. The evil inclination is like a magistrate. But for a rasha, it's not a magistrate, it's a ruler. It's like Pharaoh, it's like king. And every time Pesach comes around, it reminds us again, don't be ruled by this Pharaoh with a hardened heart. Don't harden your heart to klipa because you think it's what you need and what you want, and it is who you are. And, it's not true. Allow your heart to soften. Allow yourself to judge yourself without intensity, just to see where you're at, to see the light, to let the light shine through the truth of who you are, your godly soul and Hashem. You'll have the help. You just have to soften your heart and be willing to see the truth. So that's the difference, because a rasha will be ruled by whatever it feels in his heart, whereas the Benoni and the tzaddik, well, the Benoni, he will never be ruled by what he feels in his heart, because his heart, he knows, is like what comes up like quickly, first of all, is the animal soul. So he knows that if the animal soul is talking, it's not holy. And what he realizes is he doesn't have to act on these feelings. So the Benoni feels the feelings. He feels, intense impulses, sometimes, and like what I said in the last class about like what we saw as a tzaddik who's had all these Talmidei Chachamim, and he was read by a person who could read the forehead, read the palms, read the face, see what the person's facing in his life. And this person read him and said that this man has a tendency to rape, to all these horrible things, to murder, to theft. He's, all these horrible, like extremities, right? And the Rav he smiled and he said, this person knows what he's saying, right? That means that this big tzaddik who threw himself into Torah and mitzvot and helping other people and avat chinam, so all of these things that he was doing, it didn't mean that he wasn't facing the impulse or the urge. It meant he was choosing how he's acting. It meant he had free choice in his life. Because I think that's a big thing, especially in our world today, especially from like my own experiences. We can get so mixed up with who is the real me? What do I really need to do in order to be true to myself? It's not following what your heart desires, just like that. No way, Jose, no way. Because that shows you that you have no free choice. It shows you you're being ruled by Pharaoh in Egypt with a hardened heart. And no matter how many miracles will be thrown in your face, no matter how many times you say, I want to change, or I want to let my people go and let the godly soul take over, we can harden our heart again. And so Hashem will never stop throwing us miracles. It's just about us softening our heart, opening it, and allowing us to see more and more, witness more and more, and say, Hashem, yeah, I can see you here. And that's I think really amazing. So that's what I mean when a person like a rasha doesn't have bechira chafshit. Of course he has bechira chafshit, but the stronger you make your animal soul, the less power you have over it. Because what's the strategy? Not the strategy. Like two men wrestling, there's a lot of betting going on. Who's going to win? Probably the stronger one. But even if there's a stronger one, if one of them is lazy, says the Tanya, then the one who's not lazy is going to win, even if he's weaker. So when it comes to feeding our animal soul more and more, doing things, thought, speech, and action that are of the animal soul, so I'm not God conscious, then we strengthen the animal soul. And our godly soul, depending, if we daven, if we do the things that we're meant to do that strengthen it, then okay, so we have something to fight with. If unfortunately, for whatever reason, there are so many, no one's here to judge, but look into yourself so you can see it for yourself. How many times are you feeding your godly soul? Are you bringing your godly soul to the forefront by praying with the words of Torah, words of Kedusha, and filling it up with Torah after? So feeding your animal soul, your godly soul. So if you're not doing these, then how much more so will you fall to the animal soul? How much more so will you be ruled by it? But for the Benoni, he's not ruled, and that's what we're coming down to. That's like what the pasuk was saying. He's not ruled by the evil inclination. He's judged by both the evil and the good inclination. And we know both the good and evil inclination because it's a plural word that's used. The inclination is judged by his inclinations. So I thought that was really amazing, just understanding what it is to have bechira chafshis, true choice, free choice. And I want to also say, for extra chizuk, extra koyach, that no matter what we're going through, in whatever phase of our journey, Hashem will always help us when we want to go in a certain direction. If we want to become more kedusha, if we want to become more, strengthen our godly soul more and be ruled by our good inclination, if we want to have free choice, then Hashem's angels, like Hashem will send divine help into our lives. And whenever, like we learned in the other chapter about the rasha, whenever you have that, like whenever you do something that you're not proud of, there's a second right after you do it where you can feel remorse, and that's the expression of your godly soul coming to the forefront. So no matter how many times you do something wrong, keep attaching yourself, connecting yourself with that godly soul that comes to the forefront. Keep trying to connect with it. Keep asking Hashem, Hashem, I need help. I'm not able to do this on my own. Something bigger than me, something I can't control. I need help. So please help me. And Hashem will give you the reinforcement, whatever you need. And you can actually strengthen yourself, but it comes from what you choose to do and experience in terms of thought, speech, and action. So sometimes you need that push from Hashem more so than from yourself. And so there's another quote from our sages that say, actually, the true and the only bechira chafshis, free choice that we have is whether we believe in Hashem or not. So am I going to believe in Hashem, or am I going to and ask for his help, or am I not? And am I going to continue to fall to the natural patterns of where I'm heading? Because we have a God who will pull us out from Egypt, from a hardened heart, from a Pharaoh who's ruled over the entire world. If you look at it, I think Pharaoh, the animal soul, connecting with Pharaoh, is ruling over the entire world today. How many crazy stories, how many crazy beliefs and thoughts are being shared for people to develop and build on, and that just brings such negative associations, negative energy into the world. Chas v'shalom, there's so much of that going on, and but like that's the world that we're living in. That's the world that's being ruled in this way at the moment. So of course we're going to go in a lower direction than where we're meant to. So we really need Hashem to help us. But the choice is, if we're going to call Hashem, if we're going to waken our mind to see that I have no control of where I'm going at the moment, I need your help to intervene and help me, even when I even don't have the will. So like there's this prayer, like, Hashem, like, help me that I don't have the will in myself. So please give me the will. Please help me get the will to be in Kedusha, the will to want you, to want my divine soul to come to the forefront. That's a valid prayer. That's a valid prayer. And what you're doing is humbling yourself to Hashem. Sometimes it can feel like an excuse not to put all your koach into doing something, but really even that is an expression of your animal soul coming forward, like this laziness of the earth element. And it's a bad midah, and it comes from the animal soul, the Yetzer Hara. And so even with that, you need help, not to be lazy, to have the desire, to have will. So I just wanted to share that because I really feel like it's helped me a lot in my life. So Hashem will help anyone listening as well, and anyone not listening. I think the whole world needs it. May we have a Yetzias Mitzrayim, all of us, especially the entire world, not just the Jews, all of us Jews, but especially the entire world. We really need a Yeshua. So just going back to where we were, from the heart, the desire ascends to the mind for contemplation. This ascent is automatic. Whenever a desire is awakened in the heart, the brain will contemplate it. And also that's what it's like when the small city, your body becomes a chariot for the clipper, right? So you're no longer the driver. The clipper's driving you. This is what it's like. So all your organs will actually feel the presence of the animal soul, which is a more coarse, depending on your animal soul, but definitely more coarse and unrefined than the godly soul. So definitely a heavier energy. Immediately upon its ascent to the brain, the desire, it is challenged by the second judge, right? The second judge being the divine soul, which mainly resides in the brain and extends its power to the right part of the heart, where the good inclination abides. The good inclination, well, where it reveals itself. So the good inclination is actually the voice of the divine soul's emotional attributes and is hence active in the right part of the heart. See chapter 9, which we already went through. The good inclination thus battles the evil, ensuring that the latter's passion not be realized. For the opinion of the good inclination is that all of the body's faculties and organs be utilized only for matters of holiness. which is the same desire of the evil inclination, that all of the organs and the body's faculties will be used for matters of unholiness. And so do you remember the emotional attributes of the soul? The emotional attributes start from, so our intellectual attributes are chachma bina da'at, right? Chabad. And then we have all the emotional attributes that start with chesed, gevura, tiferes, netzach, hod, yesod, malchut. So those are all the 7 emotional attributes. And that's where the inclinations, evil and good inclinations, exist or live or express themselves. They express themselves through feelings, and that's why it has to go back up to our head to interpret. Okay. I remember listening to a TED talk years ago, and it was saying this woman was talking about how when your stomach growls or gurgles or makes that rolling feeling or noise, most people interpret it as hunger. So immediately they want to go eat something. They think they're hungry. But the truth is, our stomach will gurgle for so many reasons. It could be related to trauma. It could, something shocking just happened and your body's taking it in an experiential way, whether it's something that physically happened or something you thought about that's causing you to have a reaction in your body, which again, we talked about that being different parts where the animal soul has taken effect in these different organs and are unresolved, haven't been addressed properly, haven't been, haven't had the parents, being the godly soul, to be there, comfort the animal soul, teach it how to move through, how to not judge yourself, how to, everything's okay, Hashem's with us, etc., right? So anytime that we haven't been able to do that with different parts of our body, our trauma will easily get stuck. And so what this woman was saying is, so the first thing we do shouldn't be to eat. It should be to listen to our body, to try to figure out what's going on, rather than just associate and give it a solution, right? Really being there for ourselves. And so it could be a trauma reaction. It could be a digesting thing. It could be so many reasons, and I don't remember all those reasons. But it definitely isn't just hunger. Most times it's not. That's what she was saying. And I thought that was really interesting, because what the Alter Rebbe is saying hundreds of years ago, it was saying from sources way beyond him, so probably thousands of years ago, is that nothing just starts, it doesn't just start with our mind. Our reaction can start from our heart, and it can be stored in our body and then move up to our brain, which will then create an association. And are we going to listen to the association of the animal soul or the godly soul, right? So there's a question, for example, with the stomach gurgling, so the stomach's having a body reaction. So my heart will feel something and then go to my stomach, then come up to my brain and have it, 2 sides of me will interpret it. If I'm a Benoni, I won't just go for the first thing that comes up. So that I'll hear the 2 sides, the 2 complaints. And one side will associate it with hunger. I need to eat, I need to indulge right now, probably overeat because I'm feeling super hungry. I mean, I think I am because I'm gurgling a lot. Maybe I have pains now. More anxious thinking leads to more anxious feeling. And the other side might say, I think I need to go for a walk. Maybe I need to drink some water, or maybe I need to take a time out, just listen to myself. Maybe take my feet off. Maybe I've been around the computer or radiation or with my phone or just switched on most of the time. Maybe I just need 2 minutes to step outside in the grass, let all the electrons, like positive electrons leave my body, just get a grounding and receive the negative charge from nature. It's just like take a grounding moment. Maybe I can, while I'm doing this, read some Tehillim. Maybe I can listen to something like a Shiur for just a second, just a minute, just to have added kedusha, so it can be a godly experience, not just a mundane experience, right? And so those are two ways of interpreting that. One way is I'm starving, I need to eat everything. The other one is I am overwhelmed and struggling. I need time out to check in, right? So this is obviously the godly soul. Check in, time into check in with myself and check in with God, right? So that's the one that the Benoni will always listen to, and that's the one that whoever's not on that level definitely want to be reaching there more and more often. But I just thought it's so interesting. Hopefully that was more relatable, to see how easy it is for the manifestation of the animal soul to come through, and how simple it can be for us to act like the Benoni, and have the Chir Chavshus, and choose, hear the other verdicts and really listen. So the final verdict rests with the arbitrator, the Holy One, blessed be He, who comes to the aid of good inclination, enabling it to prevail over the evil inclination. As our sages say, man's evil inclination gathers strength daily. Remember, daily. How is it gathers strength daily? Because we go to the bathroom, because we wake up, because we sleep, because we speak, because we all these things. Everything we're doing is an action of physical manifestation, an action of something that's not necessarily godly, just mundane. And so naturally, it automatically builds up strength daily. And if the Almighty Hashem did not help our good inclination, then the good inclination would never be able to overcome the evil inclination. I think that's so strong, so beautiful. How beautiful is Hashem? It's in Kiddushin. And it has the same Kadesh, holy. So this is Hashem making us holy. Hashem's choosing to help us in our battle, where we're fighting against Pharaoh with a hardened heart. Even someone who's not a hardened heart, it's impossible to live in the world that we live and have Kedusha and connect with goodness and do things that are good rather than spiteful or hurtful or reactive, right? It's very, very big. And the only reason we're able to is because Hashem comes to our aid. Hashem comes to our aid. And even a person who's slipping and sliding and not always acting in the best of ways, probably acting something in a way that they're ashamed of more often than not, even that is a show of Hashem, like where Hashem is. Because if this is already the inclination, if this is already your actions, where you are, where you're thinking, where you're at, then imagine how hard it would be if you didn't have anything helping you in the other way. You would be way more down than you are now. Chas v'shalom. But this is the world we live in. This is the God that Hashem, that we have, Baruch Hashem, that we're constantly in touch with. Remember that Hashem comes to the aid of our good inclination. How much more so does that show? How much more so do we want to take this gift and strengthen this gift? Show our appreciation of this most precious gift, in which we can actually build a life rather than break it down, build relationships rather than break them down. So really Hashem's looking out for us. And I really appreciate that message. With that, let's end up with our meditation. So I invite everyone now to gently check in with your body, close your eyes if that's helpful for you. It's actually good to close your eyes, even if you don't want to, because it helps your energy to focus where it needs to be focused rather than looking on the outside. Closing your eyes helps helps your liver, actually, according to Chinese medicine. Okay. So breathing in, breathing out, get into a rhythm. As you breathe out, resonate and exhale any tension that's felt in your body, in your mind, in your heart, in the left part of your heart where the animal soul resides. Remember this inner child. Where is my inner child gotten hurt, reactive, or gotten a sudden jolt today? Could have been during our Shiur. Maybe we were thinking, resonating with something that we connected with our past. Maybe we're just thinking of something else. Got distracted. Maybe it happened earlier today in interacting with people we love, people we don't know very well. Maybe our interaction with ourselves. Probably that's a big one. That might even be under layers and layers of distractions and barriers. But if we're hurting others, even unintentionally, we're definitely hurting ourselves. So it's worthwhile to look for that, just to see if we resonate with that in any way. With a gentleness, with the presence of compassion, the presence of non-judgmental, not criticizing, not confrontational. What we're doing is we're trying to resonate, trying to see if we resonate in any part of us, and allow ourselves the time to respond. If we don't respond, that's okay. Just like a child. If the child doesn't respond to your gentle, compassionate prompts, open-ended questions, smile on your face, positive, comforting, safe aura that you're giving over, mannerisms, your body language, nothing intimidating. Just open to hearing her. I'm feeling my own heart, just release some more of that image. So remember this inner child. And if this child doesn't want to share, doesn't yet feel totally safe, maybe it's the first time you're doing this, showing her that she's safe without being judged. Or maybe it's not the first time. Whatever it is, she might not feel safe totally to open up, to express, to let go. So that's okay. You can still support her in whatever way she wants you. Your support, maybe a hand on the back with your imagination. You can imagine holding her on the back. Maybe she doesn't want you in her personal space at all. So maybe it's just smiling, looking at her. Maybe that's too intimidating. Maybe just smiling together, looking at the sky. Allow her to slowly let go in her own time. Slowly start to feel safe as you do something neutral together. And even infusing godliness. You can imagine the skies, imagine Hashem's kisei hakavod, which is the same color, kachol, blue, as the sky. So Hashem's throne in heaven is blue. Hashem, who's present, giving free choice to this girl, giving free choice to you. Giving us strength. Remember what we learned today, giving strength to the good inclination. And the good inclination which expresses in the emotional feelings and attributes of the godly soul, the godly soul being the parent. So imagine yourself as a parent with this girl, the animal soul, your own inner child. So now with this image, imagine where in your body this girl is present more often than not, or in your heart, in your feet, that you're running to do something not holy, your mouth, where you're speaking something idly, not holy. Maybe she's present and ashamed in your ears, where she's listened to something. You've listened to something not holy. Chas v'shalom, let it not be. It might actually be lashon hara. Your face, was it used for something holy or not? Your nose, breathing in beautiful smells without saying the bracha. Your eyes, maybe she's been present in your eyes looking at things that are not constructive for Kedusha. Back, the neck, shoulders, arms, spine, the nervous system, the intensity that could be there, the frazzled nerves, the shot system, incapable, overwhelmed, acting out in tantrum almost, losing all self-control in whatever moments. Just imagine where she's been present. Sitting down in your trunk, your legs, your knees, your pelvic floor, reproductive organs, all of your organs, skin, each toe. Just imagine being there for her. Imagine all of these coming out as a dark manifestation, seeping through each part of your being, finally going through all the blood vessels, all the organs, through the skin, and hanging on the surface of your skin as a darkness, putrid darkness. And as you address this precious child, the you of the past, acting the same behaviors of the past, same escape routes, same habits, same negative traits you were born with, same traits you developed in your family home, whatever it is. Just see them present, the surface of your skin, and take a look at this child. You, your godly soul, the parent. Develop these holy feelings that your good inclination will express. Meditate on and think of Hashem's goodness, Hashem's kindness, the fact that Hashem chose you to be in this world today, the entire span of your life so far. And just think how Hashem chose you, not an angel, not the angels who are so close to Hashem in heaven, to do everything Hashem says. They trust in it completely, without a shadow of a doubt. Now imagine that Hashem chose us, even though we stand below the angels. Hashem chose us to come in this divine mission today to help rebuild the third base of Mikdash, to build a dwelling place for Hashem, to bring unity. So just really appreciate this level that Hashem has given us, the lowest of the low, and still able to reach even greater heights with our being in this world, with Hashem choosing the human being who's not all perfect, but can actually reach even greater heights than the malachim, than the angels who are perfect, created perfect, stand so close to Hashem. We are the beloved child, the chosen children. And so with that, really take the opportunity to be present with your Father, to thank Him, and really be present for this child that you're now parenting. Treat her in the way that Hashem treats you. Treat her in a way that you would want to be treated. Everything's okay. Nothing's too big for God. Nothing's too big for a parent to handle all of their children. But a child will get easily frazzled and overwhelmed. Let's just be there to support. And imagine a beautiful garden. Maybe you'll take her there now. As you step onto a cloud that's taking you to this beautiful garden, you floating away, flying away. And you come to these beautiful golden gates. And as you enter, you have this feeling only positivity is able to come through. So you and this child, holding hands, come through it together. And gently you're dropped off in a beautiful garden. And your feet are touching the ground, bare feet touching the grass. Beautiful, luscious, juicy grass. And you smell the smell just after rain. Strong, fresh smell. And as you walk in, you see these seeds. And with your child, you plant different seeds. And as you get this child to plant, and planting your own, you show her that, yeah, this tiny seed you put into the ground, broken down by the earth, by different circumstances of water, of rain, of heat, whatever it is, broken down to rot and decompose, break down. And what will come out of it, just on the brink of dying, it actually sprouts forward, and through it grows before your eyes a beautiful flower, a flower that awakens this child sense of enthusiasm, sense of gratitude, of beauty, happiness, of joy, free, unbridled joy, bridal joy. So taking the moment to both lean in and smell these beautiful flowers. The happy child, now you take this child, hold her hand, give her a hug, give her whatever she wants. Maybe she wants to skip around singing. Maybe she wants to hold a dog while she looks at you for comfort, knowing she's safe. Maybe she wants to play a game. Whatever it is, just give it to her. Make her feel good. And now together, coming back down to where you are. Your animal soul, the child, inner child, happily, feeling full, feeling everything's okay as it is. Returning to a home in the left part of the heart. As you return to your home in the brain and in the right part of the heart. And feel as all this Kedusha enters from this right part of the heart and fills, flows, overflows like a goblet overflowing with Kiddush wine into the residence of this animal soul. This holiness, refining, getting rid of, cleaning all the impurities off, all the negative feelings. And in its place is the pure shining beauty of this child who's trusting more, who's loving more, who's okay as is. Now, coming back to where we are, breathing in and breathing out. There we go. Thank you for joining us today. Stop recording.